Hello, I'm Brian Worley from the Photographer Academy, and in this short video I'm going to show you how to set up an FTP server on your computer. We'll start with a Mac and then we'll move and do the same thing on a Windows. So now I'm going to show you how to set up the FTP server on your Macintosh. So the first thing you're going to need to do is to run the Macintosh Terminal. The terminal is a way to give, let's say, detailed system commands into your computer, and usually some people are a bit scared of it, but in actual fact it's a very straightforward way to work. And the first thing we have to do is we have to copy in a command, which we provided with in the description for the video, and we'll copy that command in, and all that does is activates the FTP server. That's as simple as it gets. The FTP server is part of the Mac OS, so just turning it on is all you need to do. The other important thing to know when you're connecting to a Mac as an FTP server is that the username and password for that server, which you will need to put into your camera, is your username on the Mac and your password for the account you're logged into. Now, if you use a username and it's got a mixture of upper and lower case characters in and it's got spaces in, the Mac will shorten that to give you basically a lowercase username, so all the characters are lowercase and there's no spaces. So in my case, Brian Worley with a space in between and capital B and capital W is reduced to Brian Worley all in lowercase with no spaces. So we'd need to configure those in there. The other thing that we need to be able to configure into the camera is the address of the Mac. Since it's connected to a local network, it's not on the internet, so it's not connected through a router that's connected to the internet, I need to know the IP address of my Macintosh. And I can get that from within the system preferences, and we then go to the network section where you'll be able to see, and it displays what your current IP address is. So in my case here I've got 192.168.1.200, and so that's what I'll also need to configure so the camera can connect to the right computer to be able to transfer the pictures. And that's as straightforward as it comes to set up a Mac FTP server. So now I'm going to look at setting up an FTP server on a Windows machine. Now, within the Windows environment, we actually need to download a piece of software. So there's a good free piece of software that you can download from the internet called FileZilla. We'll again provide links to that in the description. And you download the FileZilla FTP server. When you get to the page, you'll see there's a client as well. You only need the server version. Once it's installed, you then need to get to the configuration settings. So we go to our FileZilla server interface and we come up with the name of the server that we're running. So it tells you about the administration side, that's fine. But now we actually need to make sure that we have users and groups within the server. So we need to create a username to use this FTP server. So what we've done here is we've added a user and we've called him FTP demo, and we've enabled this account and put a password in. The other important thing that you'll need to do is to nominate where the pictures arrive. So you have to choose a folder on the computer's disk where the FTP pictures arrive in. So we just chose straight from here the home folder, so the normal documents folder, but you could choose pictures, or you could create a folder on the computer that you've got access to. And that's pretty much it. So you add username, and that's the step one. So that gives you the username that you're going to need to configure into the camera, the password. And now we need to look at what we need also from the computer to be able to configure in the camera, and that's the IP address. So on Windows, again, there's lots of ways of doing this. One of the easy ones is simply to run a short command and look for command. So it's just another thing, another program, and we just type IP config, and this will give us our current IP address. So in this case, we've got 192.168.1.100 as our IP address. So that's what we'll configure into the camera. And we've got the username and we've got the password. Struggles you may have with both systems actually, is that the firewall is normally designed to protect your computer from incoming connections. And so it helps usually to switch off the firewall on your computer, whether it's a Mac or a PC, such that the connection from your camera is in because it's sending something to your computer. If you're on a private network with a local access point, that's no problems because it's not going to connect to the internet. But it is something a little bit more of a problem if you're using your computer on the internet at the same time. So I would advise for photography work, just take it off of the internet, just connect it to a local router. That's simple. You can also connect to your web host, so an FTP server at your web host will probably do that, and you can connect the camera straight through. You just need to know the IP address or the server name and the username and password. Thank you for watching. I'm Brian Worley for the Photographer Academy.